live stream. Setting up your webinar for redirecting. Oh no. 404 not found. Oh.
It says we're streaming live, Ron.
What's the password? Ron, let's see if I can get lucky. Okay, well, hello there. I think I may have just embarrassed myself just a little bit. You can tell that our Chief Technical Officer, Dieter, is not with us this week. So who knows? We may be talking to ourselves, Eric. I don't know.
We've done that before.
But it says we're live. So if that is in fact true, somebody's put a post in there in Facebook, and hopefully Dieter or Eric, can you see those in Facebook?
I'm just pulling us up on YouTube so I can pull commentary.
Cool. So YouTube or Facebook, let us know that we are in fact live, and otherwise we'll operate until that time. We'll operate under the premise that we are. So welcome, Capt Ron here, and Eric Larson. We're holding on the fort tonight. Diane off, probably working hard, and Dieter is actually entertaining a friend from out of town, and so we gave him.
They went to Niagara Falls.
Yeah, cool.
And he didn't think he would get back on time, so I was going to ask him if they all got to go over in a barrel or if that's still a thing. But I haven't heard from him.
Have you been to Niagara Falls, Eric?
No, I've seen it from afar from airplanes, but I've never been there. It'd be a fun thing to see.
Yeah, I saw it. Geez, I was in high school when I saw it. It was really cool. And then what was amazing, I heard years later, they actually shut off the falls, right? And they did repair work because it was filling up at the bottom. It was amazing when you saw that, having been there. You can't believe how much water they had to redirect.
Where did they divert all that water to?
Well, I think they went there's the American side, and then there's the Canadian side. And the best views are from the prettiest part is on the American side, but you see it from the Canadian side. And so I think they stopped the part that goes on the American side first, and maybe somebody's out there can help us. But let's talk a little bit about fear of flying, all right? Because that's why Fearless Flight exists, and it is to help anybody out there who has a fear of flying, or if you know somebody, hopefully you can give them some support. And if you can't get them in here, and if you can get them in here, just redirect them, and we'll take over from there. And then finally, we just have people that are interested in keeping tabs on us and the airline industry. So welcome, no matter what reason you're here for, we're glad to have you. This is our weekly show, Tuesdays at 6:30 p.m. Pacific, 9:30 p.m. Eastern. We are live, so we appreciate if you leave us a little message in there. And if not, then or if you can't watch us live and you've seen the replay, same thing. We'd love to have you leave a message on our Facebook page or our YouTube page. We are simulcasting in theory on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube, and you can watch the replays on either Facebook or YouTube. So let me pull up the slides here, and we'll do a little bit more of the formality. Okay. Okay, just about there. And we're back, and let me share my screen. Okay. All right. As I said, we are Fearless Flight Live here every week to support you out there. And we always like to mention our Fearless Flight Birds of a Feather Facebook group. It's a group that's up over 1,400 now and growing every week. This is for support for you to support each other and us to go in there and test the current and get the pulse now and then. And I've seen some great posts in there supporting each other, and I've got some great ideas for myself on what direction we need to go. The primary purpose that we do this show every week is to field questions from you out there in the audience. So if you have anything, please don't hesitate to put it in the notes, and we'll do our best to answer that. We're going to talk a little bit about what to do, specifically the 201 online course. I'm going to do a little. It may look like advertising, but I'm really, that's the hard part for me. Is I hate the part where you kind of got to promote yourself and stuff like that. But I get criticized because people say, "Come on, Ron, just tell me what I should do next." So I will try to do that gently and respectfully, and tell you what everybody else or what other people have done, and to get successful there. We'll talk a little bit about my live monthly coaching call for next week, coming up next week, or I'm sorry, next month. It'll be July 20th, and we're going to be talking about triggers a lot. So, and I'll touch on the FFC, which is the Fearful Flyer Club there. Okay, so check this out. I got this in Quora. Some of you may get Quora. They have some interesting things in their cross section. So this is a little story, and it says an Airbus 380. That's what that big old commercial jet is there. He's on his way across the Atlantic, and he's flying consistently 800 miles an hour, 30,000 feet, when suddenly a Eurofighter appears on his wing. And the fighter pilot slows down, flies up alongside, and says hello to him. Which I don't know if he can do that, because he's got UHF and the airliner's VHF, but for the purposes of our story, we'll assume that he can. And so he says, "Hey, Airbus, watch this." So he rolls over, the fighter pilot rolls over on his back, and he says, "Boring, how about this?" He rolls over on his back and accelerates, breaking the sound barrier, rises up, pitches over, rolls down, goes into a steep dive, and pulls it out right above the ocean, pulls it back up in a hard pull, upside down, gets up to him. Immelman rolls over, like wings level, rejoins on his wing, and he says, "How was that? What'd you think of that?" And the Airbus pilot answers, "Very impressive, but watch this." So the fighter pilot's sitting there on his wing for about 15 minutes or so, and nothing happens. So finally he can't resist. He says, "Watch what? I didn't see anything." And the "What did you do?" And the Airbus pilot laughs, and he says, "Well, I got up, stretched my legs, walked to the back of the aircraft to use the washroom, then got a cup of coffee and a chocolate fudge pastry." So the moral of the story is, when you're young, speed and adrenaline seems to be great, but as you get older, wiser, you learn that comfort and peace are more important. So here we are, Eric, older and smarter, or older and wiser. Hopefully. This is another little story that I saw, which is touching. This is a true story. And so I just copied down the narrative here. So this is a lady in the middle there. She and her husband in the foreground are on this flight. And there's another young gentleman next to the window, in the window seat over there, and he hadn't said anything. And so here's the narrative. Lisa and I had to get on a flight unexpectedly this weekend to visit someone we love. And yesterday we flew home. As we took off and got up over Dallas, we were pinballing around in some terrible turbulence, the kind that makes you close your eyes and collapse into yourself and get really quiet. The turbulence that turns even the staunchest atheist into a prayer warrior. In that moment, the teenager next to the fella next to the window there next to us, with whom we had not yet shared a word, turned and said very intensely, "I need you to talk to me right now. I have terrible anxiety, and this is my first time to ever fly alone. And this turbulence is messing with me. I need you to talk to me right now, please." And so we started talking. "Hi, I'm Lisa. This is my husband, Daniel, and we're going to be your best friends for the next 90 minutes. We are so proud of you for telling us what you need. That took a lot of courage, and we'd be proud of our own kids for taking the risks that you took. We're all going to be okay, and we're here for you, so just tell us what you need. He told us his name is Braden, and he's 16, and he plays the guitar, ukulele, and piano. He told us that he had just finished recording his first album too. And so I asked if he had an album on him that I could buy. He pulled one out of his backpack, signed it, and gave it to me. And I reached into my backpack and gave him all of our traveling cash. But here's the most important thing, something that Braden can teach all of us. When you need help from people, take a risk and ask for it. I need you to talk to me right now. When life gets turbulent, we tend to close our eyes and collapse inward and get really quiet. But no, that won't work. Braden showed us a better way. Look around, open up, and put yourself out there and ask for help. Yesterday with Braden was holy ground. It was one of the most beautiful conversations we had in a long time. And it's because someone took the risk of being honest. So be like Braden and take a risk. You know, that's our motto here at Fearless Flight, is that we totally wish you the same thing, is if you don't get it, we want you to reach out and ask for help. You know that I totally recommend that when you go fly, that you go to the gate early, introduce yourself to the boarding agent, tell them you got a medical condition, and ask for early boarding, either by saying I need extra time if you're in a airliner that you've got a pre-assigned seat, or if you're on somebody like Southwest where you don't, then you say I need a special seat. In either case, you want to get on and you want to share that load with the flight attendant when you get on the airplane and ask to meet the pilots. People still are reluctant to do that. They're I think a little bit embarrassed about disclosing that, but it really is one of the most often reported best practices, and I get feedback from people out there. Did you ever have a lot of people do that, Eric, when you were flying? Tell them, come up and tell them they're afraid to fly?
Not often, but I remember after I started working with you, I watched a little more carefully, and towards the end of my career, the last 8 years, I saw people getting on the 757, which was considerably more room up front, and I saw dread on their face on a couple of occasions. And when I did, I said, why don't you step up front here with me and we'll talk for a couple minutes. And when they did, they whatever the beast was, they were able to park it and go back and sit down and think about their Hawaiian vacation, not how that it was going to end in the water somewhere between LA and Honolulu. I got to where, I was looking for them, and so I could spot them, as opposed to previous to that, not really looking for them as much.
Yeah. I know I never did either in my career, and people were just doing it. So hopefully we're spreading the word out there and people will do that, because I think it's one of the most important things you can do. It kind of puts you in the right frame of mind, and it gets you a little bit of support. Rarely do I hear back that the flight attendants were rude or indifferent at best. I really hear people step up, and Diane has reflected that as well. That's her experience out there. So anyway, wanted to have a little bit of a shout out to 3 people I heard from yesterday. First of all, I'm touched that they thoughtfully give me this feedback. Heard from Karen Acuna, and she says, all 3 yesterday, it was a kind of a banner day. She says, hello, Capt Ron. Wanted to let you know that after 9 years today, I flew all by myself. No husband, no sister, no friends, all by myself. Thank you so much. And you are entirely welcome, Karina. I heard from another person, Jennifer Summer Perry. She's somebody that I flew with last December. And she wrote, I am on my 10th flight today. Now, bear in mind, when I flew with her in December, she had not flown for a long time. Matter of fact, she says, I'm on my 10th flight today since you and I flew last December on my first flight in 40 years. My mind is blown every time I fly. I think of you each time I fly. Remembering all you have taught me each time, my anxiety is less. I can't thank you enough. And for anybody who thinks that Jennifer was not as bad as you are, you haven't seen Jennifer. Man, I'm telling you, she stepped up like nobody's business, and she had a full-blown panic attack before we closed the door on or right after we closed the door on that flight. And she was amazing, and she's out there flying on her own right now. And this is one, a really current one. This is from Donna Henry. Donna has been following us, and she signed up to all these people took the 201 course. And Donna, well, I'll just read what she said. So this was yesterday again. So I want to touch base on the day the FearlessFlight crew and I take off from Tampa for London, Ireland, and Scotland, and back to London to Tampa on July 12th. And of course, she's including us there in spirit. She feels like she's got us on her team, which she does. Thank you. This is very different. This is a very different experience had it not been for you. Yep. I have that pesky, oh my God, I am going to die shadow still lurking in the shadows, but I know what to do with it now. Thanks to you and the 201 course, I just tell it, stop it. And I stick my fingers in my ears, go, la, 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 la. I don't want to hear that. Plus all the facts you have provided and the logic and the backup that supports all that information. She's talking about a lot of the content in the course. Last week's webinar was everything. We just had our monthly coaching webinar last week. Was everything I personally needed for this D-Day departure. The breathing and observing in a nutshell. That is what I am doing and what I will continue to do, plus taking you all with me in spirit, at least. Okay, she took off last night at 10 p.m. She said, I tried to think of one tiny moment that was not helpful to me on the webinar last week, and I couldn't. There was not one thing that wasn't helpful. That has been the case during this whole experience with FearlessFlight. Questions were answered even before I had a chance to ask. Just amazing, and from the most experienced, trustworthy, intelligent crew ever. Then she writes, breathe, observe, and pull up my team on my iPhone, mainly the apps and the FearlessFlight Harmonizer. Thank you with all my heart, Donna Henry. P.S. FYI, this will be the first time I have ever boarded a plane without medication and or Bloody Mary. So we can't wait to hear from Donna. I told her that we want to get her on as a guest and talk about her experience there. And what do they all have in common? They all have in common, all three of those people started with a free 15-minute coaching session. I can't overemphasize that. If you don't know what else to do, that's a great way to start. And they all went on to take the 201 course and sign up for that. And then they all have been on the coaching calls because that's part of that. And so I thought I'd just take a minute. We'll talk a little bit about I'll take you into the course. Let me see if I can pull this up. I have a follow-up email that goes out to everybody. Okay. Do a little dance or something. Tell a few jokes, Eric, while I'm...
I'll do that. And for some reason, I have us two up on YouTube and I've got no commentary coming in. It's screening it somehow, because surely somebody would have pointed out we had a mustard stain on our collars or something like that. So if you want to take a second and glance without Diane or our chief technical officer here, I don't know if we have any pressing inbound commentary or not. I can't.
Most everybody is on Facebook probably. So if we can't, can you get Facebook on your phone?
No, that's chief tech. That's project number one now that I'm back for chief technical officer and I to get that set up.
Okay, so we'll and they can't get to us in the chat either. So okay, so be it. We're gonna let me share my screen here, and we will this time to okay. So I think you can see that email, right?
Yep.
Eric? Yep. Okay, cool. So this is what I send out to people on after a free 15-minute coaching call. So like I said, if you don't know what to do, I recommend that you take a look at getting a free 15-minute coaching call. And this is the follow-up thing they do. There's a video that I actually make as a narrative to describe what's in the email, but it always includes the replay. I videotape or audio tape the sessions, depending on if you're willing to do that, because it's very valuable, I've found, for you to take a look at you talking to me. All right. And just see the person that I see in there and get a little bit better feel for that. Option one, I have three options here. They're not necessarily in the order of priority. It kind of depends on what you are at. Many people when they get in touch with me or Fearless Flight, they have fewer than 7 days to get ready. So we put together a little package here with a one-to-one private 60-minute coaching and the Fearless Flight Kit. And you've all heard many of our guests come back on and talk about how helpful the Fearless Flight Kit was. But if you got a limited amount of time, it's probably one of the most helpful things you can do is go ahead and do the 60-minute coaching and get the Fearless Flight Kit. Option two, this is if you've got a more than 7 days to prepare. This is our Clear for Takeoff, Takeoff 201 global online course. And it's one of the most popular things we have. It's a great comprehensive course. You get 60-day access to that. And why did we limit that? For two reasons. One, if you're on there more than 60 days, it probably means that you're not accessing it. Okay. And two, if you're going to get over this, you need to get over it. And so the best thing is sooner rather than later. The next thing is once that expires, we have a transition, and we highly recommend that you stay current and stay connected for a period of time. So that's when the monthly coaching webinars come in. And so I'll click on here and I'll show you. Let's see where that's going to come up, probably on another window. Let me change the share. Yeah. What I want to do is someone just take you over to that and show you what's new. Okay, so you're looking at the 201 course, right, Eric?
Yep.
Okay, so as we speak, I am updating that. We're doing a full-blown audit. Because a lot of this information, or some of the information, was the reason we put the 201 course online was because we were in the middle of a pandemic and we couldn't get together with you live anymore. So we took that out. So what I've been doing, and for any of you that are not there, and I'll talk about the coaching sessions here in a minute, but like I said, you get access to the monthly coaching sessions for the 60 days that you're a member, that you have access to the 201 course. And this is the 201 course student portal. And so if you're in the coaching program with us now, the monthly coaching, you get access. If you were ever a member or purchased a 201, you get retroactive access to this. So you can see all these changes that I'm putting in there. One of the big ones was, this is an example of down here, triggers. So there's a triggers page in module 1. And what we do now is we have a section up here called highlights. And so we've always had this video down here, but we have highlight section. So now you can go through there and you get a little bit of a synopsis of what's in the video. So maybe you don't need to watch the whole thing, but you want to go in there and you want to just refresh your memory on some of the concepts and some of the strategies and stuff so you can do that through triggers. And this is typical of all of the lessons in there now. So it's going to have a highlights. It's going to have a video. It's going to have an activity. If there is one, you can see here's a trigger activity that you click and download. And then we have articles. So there's going to be as much as possible. Every one of these triggers, this is a picture of our trigger sheet underlying that video player. And now there's going to be articles. So if one of the things that triggers you is cabin lights flickering, you can look down here and you can find in detail, what does that mean? What's going on when the cabin light's flickering? Bird strikes. How do bird strikes pose a threat to jetliners? So if the thought of birds hitting your airplane freaks you out, you can go down here, and so on and so forth. So there's just going to be a ton of articles added to this that were not in the original content. So you can get a better idea for that. We have a thing called What's New. And you go to that. So every time you check in to the 201 course, you want to stop here first, because anything that has been updated since you last were in there will be here. It'll be a highlight as to what we updated and where we put it. And there'll be a link directly to that part of the course. Eric and I, one of the things that we're tasked with is keeping our publications up to date. In the old days, we had to do it pen and ink and all that. And it was a pain because they put stuff in there and you had so many changes, especially after 9/11, and you go in there and it looked like everything changed. So it was hard to tell what was new. So that's kind of one of the part of the thinking that I had here was to help you find out what is new in there. And there'll be new and exciting articles, interviews, and videos from everybody. And you go down here, you can see module 1 is the psychology. I'm sorry, I skipped over one thing. All of the monthly live group coaching webinars. Now we started in May of last year. So now we've got 13 under our belt, I believe, at least. And so all of those are in here as well. So if you have access to the 201, either by virtue of being active in the course, or if you're active in the membership coaching program, you go in here and you can see the replays, which is great. And that's the most current thing. We have every coaching session, we introduce some new content. We do one-to-one coaching with people who come to the webinar and want to do some practicing live, and we have a visualization that we include as well. And you can see all these things down here. Born to Worry. These are all parts of Module 1. Module 2 goes on to talk about let me get down there. Basics of flight. And then Module 3 is about coping tools and strategies. And then Module 4, all the way down here, is putting it all together. Let's see where they're rewiring your brain. Okay, so there's 4 basic modules, and then there are tons of bonus content, resources, interviews with people both before they took the course and afterwards. And so anyway, so going back to the other screen here, which is just a way for me to collect here. Okay. So back here, so that's under option 2. That's the 201 course. And then option 3, that is the monthly live coaching sessions. And so you can, if you want, if you're out there and you haven't done anything at all, and you're a little nervous about where to get started, a great place is to just purchase one of the monthly coaching webinars. Like, so for July, you can just come on board. You can purchase that course or that class and just get a feel, dip your toes in the water and get a feel for what we're all about. If you're confident or you have been a 201 student before, you might take a look at the membership plan, and that's either $37 a month or $57 a month, and you get a whole array of benefits in that. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to ask me or contact me at Capt Ron at FearlessFlight.com. And then other things, of course, because you're on Facebook following the show here, we have an active Facebook community. We have a very active Fearless Flight Birds of a Feather group here, and we have a YouTube channel here. So those are some ideas about what to do and where to start. And we really, really, really want to encourage you to do that. Let's see, what else did I want to do? Let me look at my notes here.
While you're looking, hi everybody who said hi that I couldn't see it, and I got a text from Jim Duke that said we're doing fine on Facebook. And
all right.
Tracy Solis reminded me that perhaps the expression plunging into the water between LA and Hawaii was not helpful, so I apologize. We'll talk about that later. I just got back from Egypt yesterday, and I am not quite in my right mind yet.
All right. So let me do one other share here. What I want to do is show you probably one of the best things that we've added, and that is the Fearless Flight. And hopefully you can see that, right, Eric? Yep. Is it obscured at all, or is it you can see it?
Yeah, it's showing the kits and the coaching.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, it's showing
Okay.
the whole flight.
This is the best part. So anything that we have, you can get on your portable device now. And this is the app. So if I had the Fearless Flight Kit, I can download it right to my phone, which is important because then I don't have to stream it on the airplane or don't have to worry about the Wi-Fi. So, and I touch that and you go in there and that's the same content that you could get if you had a computer there. And it's really where we've been wanting to get for a long time, because it's one thing to have a program or a membership that's on a computer, but what 70% of the people don't use computers anymore. They get their information, especially if you're below 30 or 40, everybody gets their information directly over their wireless device, their smartphone. So this has been very helpful, and you can see that. So you got the Fearless Flight Kit. We got we got several courses in here, putting mindfulness into practice. You can even register for 15-minute coaching call here. You can join the Fearless Flight or access the Fearless Flyer Club. We got our turbulence guide, and then of course the 201 course, and a host of other things there. But that's really a cool thing because you can get that on through our app and have access to it, which is just really much better for that. Let's see. I think that's pretty much all that I wanted to really talk about tonight. And if like I said, if you're wondering what to do, at the very least, sign up for a 15-minute coaching call or just send me an email. Say, hey, Capt Ron, can we talk? And I'll fix you right up and we'll get you underway, because there's no reason to go on and be afraid to fly. 90%, estimate conservatively 60 to 80 million people in the US alone have a level of fear flying where either one, they're white knuckled, they don't fly unless they can't get out of it. And when they do, they're white knuckled. Or two, they just avoid flying, and there's no reason to do that. You can hear from those three examples tonight, and I have literally hundreds of people who have written me over the 35 years I've been doing this to tell me how much they've learned and how much better their lives are now that they can go someplace that on an airplane. So don't hesitate to reach out and get help from us. That's what we're here for, and we're here to answer your questions. So we apologize, we're not as good as taking the questions as we are when we got our Chief Technical Officer here tonight. And but I will look through in the Facebook post and see if anybody's out there. So we'll either answer them privately or we'll answer them through the show next week. So Eric, just tell everybody where you went. You were on vacation this week, right?
Yeah, it was a big deal that I kind of fell into. There was a vacancy because somebody had called in sick through my favorite dive shop on a 1-week diving charter in the Red Sea, and so I flew from here to DC and stayed overnight and had dinner with one of our people. Don Calvert had a great night in DC, and then I flew to Frankfurt and Cairo, and I did 3 days in Cairo and toured the King Tut and the Egyptian Museum and the pyramids, and then we flew down to a place called Hurghada on the Red Sea, and then drove another 3 hours to Port Galib, where our ship left from, and we were on a 150-foot yacht, and we were out sailing around for 6 days, diving 3 to 5 times a day in the Red Sea, which is unique and beautiful, and the reef structure is fabulous. The Red Sea has not got the memo on global warming, and there is almost no destruction of the coral. So it was an incredible thing for me to see, and I just reversed course and came back. Like I said, I got back yesterday, and so it was quite something. I'm still trying to process it all.
What's the longest flight you had?
Munich to DC, but I lead a charmed life. I keep thinking, and I was actually thinking our fearless flyers need this. We're coming across the Atlantic. I don't think he had the seatbelt sign on for 10 minutes. And I had the map up in front of me the whole time. So I was in a business class lie flat, but I could open one eye and see what was happening. And every time I looked up, it showed up, I call it the wind peg, the arrow showing the wind we had a tailwind flying westbound across the Atlantic, and I'm just going, no, our fearless flyers deserve this, not me. So we were in an hour early. That was 8:23 coming back, and I think it was 9:05 going out to Frankfurt. So they weren't horrible flights. Well, they were fabulous flights, but not rough at all. So I really lucked out.
Yeah, full flights.
Those were, I think just about everything was, and I was like you have our people do, pat themselves on the back. I was bending my arm over to pat myself on the back. I non-revved, which is our employee expression for flying standby in and out of DC. I go, well, this is child's play. I can handle this. And we came back, and I forgot it was Juneteenth, and I'm like, oops, that was not child's play. So I was really lucky, lucky.
No, what you're saying is there were a lot of people trying to fly, and since you're at the end of the only get on if there are seats available. So,
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Fortunately, we're low season here in Phoenix, and we're going to do a stretch of 110s next week. So people weren't crawling all over each other to get to Phoenix this time of year.
They will be trying to get out of here probably. So I'll be here the next 2 weeks, and then I am going to get to go with another Fearful Flyer client of mine. Formerly, he's not for it anymore, and we're going to go to Spain for the running of the bulls. So I'm excited about the trip and the flights. All that can't say I'm all the bulls definitely lose that battle there, and I'm not a big fan of that. But it's always going to be fun. And he's got a special. This person I'm going with he's a really cool philanthropist, and he has a surprise for me. As part of a side trip that we're going to do over there. So I'm excited about that. I'll probably do some reports. I'm more than likely going to miss July 11th because that'll be the day after we get over there. And then coming back on the 18th. So I may actually miss both of those. I don't know. But anyway, so I'm excited about that myself. It'll be 2 years in a row I've gone to Europe. And so I guess we'll part you with that. Hopefully we've inspired you. You got to get out there and get over your fears and get flying with your family and whatnot.
Diane and Dieter and I will be on Crew Edition next week, so we'll see you then, and we will I'm sure pick up the slack while Ron is in Spain, and hopefully Ron will take selfies while he's going down the bull run with
definitely.
I mean, I wonder if everybody does that with their cell phone up now, taking selfies of the bulls chasing them down the chute. That would be really funny.
And I'm told that if you run with the bulls, you don't have to be faster than the bulls. You just got to be faster than the guy next to you. So no, I will not be running with the bulls. If I was 20, I would not be running with the bulls. So anyway, so thanks, Eric. Thanks everybody out there. We so love doing this with you all, and can't wait to talk to you next week. So come on back for another episode of Fearless Flight Live. Have a great week, everybody.
See you in a week.